All right. Okay, so at any point, Kamar, if you have questions or if you can't hear us, just let us know. I'm going to just start with if I can see it. I'm going to start with just starting with just start with this just the introductory slides. That's all. And make sure that we can see everything. Okay. All right, so obviously, we've already been introduced to the program, so we don't need to go through that. I just wanted to go around the room just so we have it on record to just give everyone's name and organization, your current top job title and responsibilities, if you could, what you expect to gain from this cohort, and also a fun fact about you, just something quick. So I can start first. I'm Malika Farley. I am the Senior Director for the ROAR program, which is our Rollins Office of Research and Administration, and was actually Administration and Research, if you want to follow the correct acronyms. But it is our RAS here at Emory for public health. It's Research Administration Service. So you'll hear us reference RAS a lot throughout the training. Just that's that's the department that handles all of our proposals and our life cycle of the grant, the proposal applications all the way through to the closeout of the grant. I expect to be able to help aid in this initiative and meet all of you, wonderful folks. And a quick fun fact about me, I have 6 grandchildren. So fun. Fun because they live in another state and I don't have to do too much. I'll just send a little money, send the money. All right. Carmen, you want to go next?
So I'm Carmen Murphy. I'm the Executive Associate Dean for Faculty Affairs and Research here at Rollins. I'm also a professor in environmental health, so I do grants too. So I'm happy to kind of share sort of some of the things that we do here at Rollins to support researchers. And then fun fact, I'm a new dog dad, so we just got a puppy weeks ago, and he's bad. What's that about? It's a schnoodle. Oh, yeah. Very little and fluffy, but.
Okay, so I'm Dr. Olabajo Commissioner. I work with APIN Public Health Initiative. So APIN Public Health Initiative Nigeria is an implementing partner for the US Center for Disease Control, the World Bank. So we're into public health activities. So my current job there, I'm the Director of Non-Communicable Disease and New Business Development. So the area that relates to this is the new business development.
Yeah.
So I work with Kamar. He's on the call. Kamar is the grant director, actually director. To work on proposals, and he works there, trying to ensure that everything is properly done. And of course, I'm a PI on several airline projects. So what I expect to get from this course is, well, to broaden my horizon more and to see how APIN as an organization even can set up, because we are more of a program people than research. Though we do research, but if you look at it, maybe 70% program, 30% research. So I still feel that we need to have more structure within even the organization to support research. So this training, having Kamara and my colleagues here will be like, will support us with that kind of knowledge so that we can push to have structure there. So fun fact about me, I cannot hold a living fowl. You know fowl? I cannot hold one. Just because I'm scared.
Wow.
From childhood till now, it's not possible.
Okay.
I don't know why.
So you don't like to eat them, and you don't like.
You can say I don't eat them. Don't know why. Yes.
All right, Tyree Staple, Emory University, both School of Medicine and School of Public Health. My responsibilities are across those two schools.
Everything.
Project manager for several research studies and trials. I guess what I expect to gain from this cohort is basically just how we can help our partners benefit from this particular, project. So, while I'll be in and out listening online, I just want to make sure that, our APIC, consultants, get the background that they need. And then, hopefully I'll have enough background as well to help them push their ideas forward as we learn a little bit more about that, because that's just a job.
Okay.
Fun fact, my daughter's 23, she went on vacation this weekend
Wow.
for her birthday, she didn't ask me for any.
Wow. So you're winning.
I don't think the chart, the card didn't reflect, but she tagged me directly, so we'll go with that.
Yeah, that's a win. Okay, Kumar, you are next to introduce yourself.
Yeah, good day all. I'm Kamaruddin Ismaila by name. I work with APM Public Health Initiative as the Associate Director, Grant Management.
Okay.
From my part of my major responsibility is to oversee the grant management department from the pre-award to the post-award stages of the award. What I expect to gain is to actually obtain additional perspective or knowledge in order to ensure that my organization is able to apply effectively research grants, though we have little research grant. I believe with this training, we should be able to broaden our horizon so that more research grant come into the organization. As for fun fact, I am not like Banjo. I can hold foul, but I have the fear for height. That's the opposite of Banjo. He cannot hold foul, but I can. But as for height, average height, I can manage with that, but high, I can't. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all so much. As we go on throughout the week, we'll have different presenters here for the different various topics. So there may be a few others in the room, and we will have them introduce themselves as well once we get here. So I just wanted to give you our week one agenda, which Tyree has already kind of printed out for you. Just an overview. Kamaru, since you're not in the room, you may have that online, but just today, we will go through the award life cycle, the Emory overview. We initially wanted to plan array training, which is more of our research administration experience training that new hires get when they come into Emory. However, all of those recordings are 3 hours long, and so we could not redact some of that information. And so I feel like a lot of it, though, we will give you in throughout each of the sessions. So good news is we will end a little bit early today. So we won't go all the way till 4:30. We will probably end more like 2:30. So I'm pretty sure everyone is okay with that as well. And then tomorrow we'll have a team that'll come in the morning. They'll do proposal application preparation and then go into the JIT phases. And then in the afternoon, we'll start on other support. Which is a new hot topic for NIH as there's new, if you know, there's new requirements for science CV and common forms related to other support. So we go through some of that. And then if we have time, we'll go into the award setup and review. On Wednesday, we have the opportunity here to meet all of our new senior VP leadership. They're fairly new this year in 2026. And so that'll be good as we'll go over and meet them, the senior VP's office and their representatives. And then I believe you have a tour, Banjo, with Dr. Flowers right during and after. But the afternoon we'll go into award management training. So that will consist of what we do on the post-award end of our grants administration. And then on Thursday, we will start the progress report session. Kim, who you all may have met on many of our Zoom meetings, and she is now the VP for Research Administration. She will host some live PI meetings that we'll all join on Zoom. And then we'll have some PI follow-up, what to do after we've had those meetings and we've had those discussions, and any adjustments and things like that that need to be made or that come out of the meeting with the PI. And then we'll go into effort reporting, which is a federal requirement for any institution that receives federal funding. And then on day 5, which is Friday, we'll go through, it'll be not a long day, but we'll go into the subaward management phase of the training, as well as any prior approvals that will be needed from the sponsor, from NIH, after the award is issued. So like no cost extensions, carryover requests, rebudgeting, and others. So just a few housekeeping items, just obviously the restroom is to the left, left and left. And then this is all Emory processes. I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there. These are Emory processes based on NIH guidance. So you're going to hear us use a lot of our Emory terminology. If you have questions, just please let us know and we can clarify. There'll be, I've already shared that there'll be various presenters and subject matter experts for each of the topics. Ask questions and share your experiences in any of those areas as well, because we want to learn from you just like you want to learn from us. And then if you need a break, just let us know, because they are good. All right, so I'm going to stop this presentation, and then I'm going to look for our life cycle presentation that Carmen and I will do for you. Yep, understood. Lucky you. I can never see my slideshow. Where it's always this design. Oh, slideshow. There it is. Okay. All right. So Carmen and I have already introduced ourselves, so we don't need to go through that again. Oh. Oh, why is it showing you? It's not showing her. That's interesting. How do I stop that?
There's usually a button at the top that just says clip something. Switch views.
Oh, let me do screen. No, it doesn't.
There, now it's right.
There. And now it's right?
Mhm.
Okay, good. Okay. All right, it's a different screen. Okay, so what Carmen and I will go over today, and we have Kim's name on here as well, because she also helped develop some of this training, and also used to do it with us sometimes. And so what we'll go through is the Emory spheres of influence, mostly our Emory offices and systems and people that are responsible for research administration overall. We'll go through the research life cycle and responsibilities, funding opportunities, grant editing, which is something that we do here to help our researchers have more success with their proposal submissions. Any private grants, foundations, we probably won't touch that as much because it may not be as pertinent to you all. Yeah, and so any resources and future plans. So these are our spheres of influence here at Emory. So Adam Marcus is our new senior vice president for research, and Kim is his vice president for research. They are responsible for all aspects of research administration. It includes our Office of Sponsored Programs, which submits our grant proposals to agencies. Our research grants and contracts, I just have the acronyms there, but our research grants and contracts is our post-award centralized office, and so they're responsible for signing off on all of our financial invoicing and financial reporting. They're also responsible for just our compliance in general with post-award areas. Our OTT offices of our Office of Tech Transfer, and so most of our faculty go through that office related to any of their data, DUAs and other types of agreements. And then our RCRA is our Research Compliance Office. This office houses pieces of our COI process, conflict of interest, any type of compliance matter related to our research. They are responsible for that office. Obviously, IRB handles our humans and subjects and those types of things. And then IACUC is our animals division. And there are others like our environmental health and safety offices. So the labs and making sure the labs remain in compliance. So all of those areas fall under the SVPR office. And so Adam, Marcus, and Kim will be two of the individuals you will actually meet on Wednesday here at Rollins at our meet and greet. And then Chris Augustini is our Executive Vice President for Business Administration, and he's also the COO here at Emory. Pim is responsible for finance, and she's a Senior Vice President and the CFO. And she houses procurement, accounts payable, payroll, all those things fall into their division. Obviously, research administration touches all of those pieces. And so even though it's grants, we also work with many of their people in those offices to make sure we are moving expenses forward, and payroll is what it needs to be in posting correctly. June Lee is our EVP in WishCap, and that is a part of the healthcare side of Emory University. And so there's this actual grant you've probably worked with is out on Winship. And so he's the CEO of Emory Healthcare. And so Badia Hot is our new provost. She was named provost, I believe, the end of 25. And she's our provost and EVP for academic affairs. Danny Fallon is the dean for Rollins. So here in the School of Public Health, she's our dean, and you've met Carmen, who's the executive associate dean. Kim was the chief business officer. She's still somewhat filling some of that role, but there is an interim CBO as well by the name of Brian Graff. And so then I am the director for the ROAR team. And so obviously I report to Carmen and Kim and then. So I you'll hear us say a lot of these acronyms. So I wanted to we're used to saying them all the time. And so that's a habit, not just here, but in research administration all the time, right? We talk about RSTs, we talk about COI, we do all of those things. So I've already gone through all of these. And then there are many more, but that's here as well. And so we just wanted to give you an overview of the systems that we use here at Emory. Last year, we launched a new grants management system. It's a product of MGB, which is Mass General Brigham. And they developed this grants management system for both pre and post award. Last year, we initiated the launch of the pre-award section of the system. However, it's going in phases. And so we're still using our PeopleSoft, our Compass system in conjunction with that. But currently the Insight system allows us to do our proposal intakes, take for applications so faculty can get in. They can submit a proposal request. They can also do their COI, their conflict of interest. They can go into the humans module inside of here, and then also submit any DUAs, MTAs, those types of applications in Insight. And then we can also process our JITs through Insight, our RPPRs through Insight, and any other non-NIH progress reports we will do Insight. But I also, as I mentioned, PeopleSoft is still in place because that is our HR and finance system. And so the two are currently pushing migrations. So they're integrating the two right now. And so PeopleSoft feeds the Insight system. And I believe there's also a reverse migration, but I can't go into that. So we're still working through a lot of that. But the goal is that Insight will ultimately, after we get through all of the phases, house all of our grants management from proposal to closeout. PeopleSoft is our current ERP system, and we are looking for a new one currently. So we're having vendor demonstrations currently going on this week and next week. But that is our system of use. And so we have a data warehouse as well, EBI, that we use out of PeopleSoft. And so for all of our reporting. And so then Epics is the Emory Proposal Express system. That's the Compass portion of the system. And that's the system we use to submit our proposal. And then we also have the S2S into Cayuse. And so we submit, well, not S2S, we have the system. We also use Cayuse to submit our final document. So multiple systems right now. The goal is to minimize that into one. Fourth is our financial reporting. So once our faculty receive their awards, post-award issue, there's a system-generated report on the web base that we send to our faculty, so they get all their financial reports and their projections. You'll see a piece of that later in the week. And then Emory Express is our procurement system. So all of our purchase orders go through that system as well.
So I have a question here.
Mhm.
So this system is just for only research. This system in Emory, for
Not-
example, your Emory Express, the procurement system, does it involve other procurement that are not research related?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, as well as Compass, which I don't have that here, but Epics is a part of Compass. And so yes, all of the expenses go through Emory Express regardless of research or non-research. Okay, and this is just kind of letting you know kind of how our policy works here. We developed in conjunction, Roar and Carmen's area developed a deadline submission policy just because of the volume of submissions that Emory holds. And so we want to make sure that we can put together a successful submission by having all of the documents by the 10 and 5 day deadlines. And so by 10 days, we ask that our faculty give us all of their core documents, their budget materials, their budget justification, and any sub-award documents. Those things we want to get on the 10-day deadline, and by the 5-day deadline before the submission is due, we want to get all of their science materials and those things. And then our team, our Roar team, puts together that application and submits it over to OSP. By the 3-day deadline, that gives OSP an opportunity to review and then submit it into to the sponsor.
So the first one, greater than 3 weeks, intent to submit completed by investigator. So can you explain that?
Yes.
Is it intent to submit a proposal?
Yes.
So once you have more than 21 days, you are fine.
Once you have knowledge of a funding opportunity, you know you want to submit, we ask that you go into Insight and put that into the system.
So you know that something is coming.
That's coming, correct. That gives us the awareness that it's coming so that we can assign it and someone can be working on it. And that also gets you prepared in terms of your deadlines and what you need to do before. If you decide you don't want to go through with it, we have options to withdraw, not withdraw, discontinue the application in the system.
But I basically, as a faculty member, I need to work with Raz to develop the budget.
Yes.
Right? And I can't, I don't have access to all the systems that tell me salaries and all the other things. And so we have to.
Yes. So how about how many faculty do you think you all work with?
So in our system, we don't have, it's not an academic system, it's an organization, a public health organization. So what we have are directorates.
Okay.
So we, um, so, but we don't have, like Kamal, is on call. So where I like this is that it gives the grant units at least
Yeah.
time to plan.
Yes.
So it's something I think we should pick up from here, and which Kamal, I'm sure is listening. Because sometimes, we don't follow. I like this idea of this fixed dates. Those when you just wake up and say, "Oh, this is my budget review," and there are some part of the budget that only the grant and the finance unit knows about. For
Mhm.
example, you may have an idea about your salary or your level of effort in other grants. They have to check to make sure that
Yeah.
okay. So it's their work to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that these are the people you are bringing up on board. They will fix that up. And sometimes we see that they have to rush,
Yeah.
which is not good.
Yeah,
So
right.
for me, I'm picking up this.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure Kamara we should be able to have a system to say, let's have a deadline.
Yeah.
And once we don't meet up,
Yeah.
I mean, that's right.
And then if you don't have, and I don't know how many offices will go through the review process, but if you don't have the second level of review, you could obviously confine those days to not needing the 3 day, the additional in between days. But I will say, you'll see tomorrow during the proposal application demonstration that we have a checklist that immediately, when we're knowledgeable about your funding opportunity, we send out to the researcher to kind of give them a list of what those items we need from them and what days they'll be due. So they'll have that as part of the planning as well.
That's good.
Okay. And then if you don't have as many administrators available to work on it, also helps with that as well. So you can kind of juggle timelines for each. Okay. So this is an overview of our pre-award systems. And I've already gone through Insight and Epics and Cayuse and ERA Commons. Those are the systems we use for pre-award. And then I've kind of broken down here, Emory, what our responsibilities are for each of the areas. And so our PIs are responsible for, they identify the funding and they identify which FOA they want to respond to. They submit the intake form into Insight. They complete their COI and any protocol related information, their science CV comment forms, and the proposal documents, the review packet. They review the packet once our team, RAS, puts that together in Cayuse, and then they make any changes if they need to or adjustments. We'll make those, and then they're also responsible for protocol information, which I might have put that twice, but that's okay. And so then our ROAR team, which is RAS, is responsible for the planning meetings. And I've already mentioned the checklist that we send out to the faculty. Once we get information back from the faculty, we'll have meetings to go through their budget. So we'll develop their budget, put in and make sure our indirect costs and direct costs are broken down correctly, and send that back to them to work through, make any edits and changes. We'll also work with the subs and get budgets from the subs and the applicable documents from them. We are responsible for submitting them into the systems. And then we review the proposal. We actually have a second level of review here. So not only does the administrator work on the application and put that together, we have a review team within RAS that actually reviews that before it goes to OSP for submission. So it's kind of like 3 reviews.
So let me ask, the review in the RAS, is it review for completion, or you can also even review the technical aspects?
We don't do as many technical aspects of the proposal. What we do though is make sure margins are correct on your bio sketch, make sure links, hyperlinks are, all of those things that are more that could affect your proposal being reviewed, we make sure those are there. We make sure the budgets match, the justifications match, that we're not over budget, that we're, all of those things are what we're reviewing for. Also, some things are missing, like now we have extra certifications, the foreign certifications for NIH requirements now. We make sure those are all included. Everything that needs to be complete in the package has to be complete when it comes to review. And then other support, we're responsible for putting together the other support document, which is their pending support, their active support, any in-kind support. We put all that together and make sure it's up to date to send to the faculty for them to enter into comment forms. And then OSP is our official institutional grants office, and so they are responsible for reviewing the packet that we submit to them. They also receive any JIT, just-in-time requests from the sponsor, and then they will initiate those and ask the RAS for what they need in terms of, usually it's just an other support, update, not a whole lot, just a couple of documents that's needed at that stage, or any questions related to the budget, we answer those as well. And then they are responsible for sign off to the sponsor, and they are the official contact with our agencies.
So along this responsibilities, so apart from the PI, in your system in Emory here, is there anybody that reviews even the technical aspect, or once the PI is fine with it, that's all?
Yes.
Okay, so the PI bears the responsibility.
Yeah, yes, for like the science, for the, I mean, we do have, PIs can share amongst themselves, they often do, especially for a lot of our newer faculty, our younger, we'll have, kind of reviews that happen at the department level or something to read it, to check the technical side of it. Does it make sense? Does it, is this gonna sell well? Those kind of things. Yeah. So we do that. That all happens before.
Before it gets to
Before it even gets over there. That job.
So for example, if the PI is in the Department of Ed Policy, does the head of the department have to sign off to say, okay, I'm in the know of this, and okay, got that process.
Yeah, so there's always somebody at the department level that's signing off saying, we know this person's putting this in, just in case there's some commitments by the department or the school that have to be made. They have to be aware of those. So and then there's a school level approval as well. That that you guys do approval.
Yeah, we do approval.
And then the CBO does approval. So.
Okay. Are there questions on a pre-award process? Because then I'll go to the award setup process. Once the award has been reviewed, it's been funded to the agency, as I said, they want to fund this research proposal. They'll send an award letter to Emory. The PI will receive the award notice as well, which is the researcher, and also the OSP office will receive that notice. They'll review it for terms and conditions, make sure everything is in place. If not, the OSP office goes back to the agency for clarifications. If not, the OSP office completes their compliance checks, making sure all conflict of interest are in place, any human subjects related restrictions, those types of things that are on the NOA, our OSP office notes them and then sends them to RGC for setup. And so what that does is it sets it up in our system. It gives us an account string so that they can begin spending on the award. And any compliance related matters, the billing plans, all of that's put into the system to make sure it gets invoiced on the right at the right time. Any milestones, those deliverables get set up in the system as such. And then I have noted here a PAN. I'm not sure how relevant that is, but basically when we're aware that funding is sure that it's coming to us, but there could be some sort of delay. There just needs to be one little sign off or something they have to go back to. And the researchers are anxious, right? They want to get their money, they want to start spending, they want to start their projects. We can set up a provisional account number here at Emory to give them access to start spending, and then that translates to the actual speed type, which we call speed type here. But that's their account number to start their spending on that proposal. We just monitor it to make sure the funds actually come, because if they don't, that means somebody else has to pay for them, right? So, all right, and then the actual post-award section of what we do here at Emory, our PI is responsible to communicate any changes to the initial proposed post plan, any changes to the staffing, any new staff that they want to hire, any new research activities. They're responsible for that. They ultimately have to approve all expenses that post to their speed type. That's what you'll hear me call it, but that's their account number. They certify their effort, and usually any research staff effort, they're the ones that are most knowledgeable about the time devoted to the project by their researchers and any students as well. And then they review their reports and any projections of spending. They complete milestones. So many times they'll have progress reports, like a progress report, or any deliverable based items that are due based on the contract. They complete those. They'll make sure they complete their section of the progress report. And then they also approve the final expenses for the award. They work in conjunction with our RAS team, because our RAS team will provide them with the reports. We review the expenses first to make sure they're good, that we go through those in our PI meetings. We manage their effort. So if they tell us I'm committed to 20%, but I really am spending more like 23% on this project, we adjust those things and make sure they're compliant with effort. We request their subawards. So we put those into the system, and our OSP office generates the subcontract reports to the subs. And then we assist them with progress reports and award modification requests. So anything that changes that we need sponsor approval on, we will process those, and then we reconcile and submit their final FFR to our RGC office for final submission. So yeah, our OSP office, even though they're the pre-award office, they still have involvement on the subcontract requests and any purchase orders related to those requests. That's where the Emory Express system that we talked about earlier, those go into that system for proper invoicing and tracking. And then they submit any progress reports and any institutional approvals. And our research grants and contract office actually submits invoicing so that we can make sure we can get our money for any expenses because that's the most important part, right? Any expenses that post to the speed type, we can get invoiced and paid for. And then they submit the final financial report. Any audit requests that come in, so an agency says, listen, we found that this PI was supposed to be working 5%, and we see that they're working 1%. What is happening? We provide justification with the faculty member, but we also work with our RGC office for official communications to the sponsor. They're also responsible for closeout. Institutional closeout is a federal requirement. So even if you receive the funds, you submit the final report, you have to have on file that award is officially closed out in the system. And then any PMS drawdown. So receiving federal funding means you have to have access to the payment management system to get the funding for those NIH awards. And then they apply all payments to the awards in the system. And then any accounts of receivable, they also manage. Any questions about post-award? These are just overviews.
Yeah.
We'll go into those more in depth during the week. All right, you're up.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So the other thing that we deal a lot with is data sharing agreements, technology transfers, just like patent on something, or so that all also has an office that signs off on everything. So basically, there's an Emory institutional official that is responsible for signing any kind of agreements like that. So that is not something a PI can do. So if I have data that someone would like to utilize for some other research project, this central office, OTT, so the Office of Technology Transfer, has to review any kind of agreements around that and sign off on those. And they now have, this says contract connected, this is all through Insight now too, so we can do this through our grants management system, so we can monitor it. Okay, then this is just a little bit more about some of the other support services we have, I think, around, you were asking about help. And those pieces, so working with me is Adrian. I don't know if you'll meet Adrian this week, you never know, Adrian's around all the time, she's kind of pops in. But so she does a lot of work in helping to support our new and early career faculty, so just connecting them with offices that they need, helping them find their way around Emory. It's a big place with a lot of offices involved, so she can help connect people to those offices. She helps support training grants, so we have a number of training grants here at the school or across the university, and we have a central office that helps support those. And so she's a good connection with that. So I hold a training grant myself, and she actually helps me work on mine and things. So because she's been doing it for a long time. And then whenever we have large submissions, so like a center grant application, multiple projects involved into a large grant, there's a central office that'll do it if it's over $10 million a year in funding. Otherwise, it's something that we handle here at the school. So I'm also a center director. It's a $5 million grant over 5 years. So we support that here at the school level, and so Adrian will help because those just have a lot of parts. They have a lot of biosketches and a lot of there's just a lot of extra paperwork involved in those. So she helps to put those kind of things together. So just have extra hands on it. And then we have a lot of different resources available. This is just our webpage here at Rollins, which talks a lot about kind of different research that we have going on here, our centers, some news about our research. And then we can link to like webinars. Like on Friday, for example, I did a session on just some federal updates, like because it changes every week at this point. So we save videos of those kind of things. We have slides from those presentations, so we have those available to our researchers here to be able to see all those kind of things. And then we've changed up this website a little bit now, but we do try to provide information on grant opportunities that are out there, where you find them. Emory is a subscriber to Grant Forward, which is like a big database of different grant opportunities, both federal and non-federal kind of grants. So it allows people to search. You can get a weekly update. So if you put in that I study children's environmental health, I can get a weekly update of any grants that highlight that area as something. Grants.gov is the federal website for all grants opportunities, so we have links to that. There is still the weekly NIH guide that comes out on Fridays. It's less useful now. Right? It doesn't really provide a lot anymore. It's really just about rules changes. And part of that is actually also what I've learned is going on in NIH, is that they're going to use a lot less NOFOs and RFAs. They're not going to call for specific proposals. They want things to be investigator initiated. And so that's part of where getting rid of that part of the weekly digest is because they're really not going to use that anymore to do that. And then we also link out to, and this is something anybody can take a look at. Johns Hopkins has amazing resources for fellowships for people, so postdoc fellowships, trainee fellowships for doctoral students. They keep this enormous basically spreadsheet of like all of the possible fellowship opportunities that are out there, and it's freely available to anybody to look at. So you can go online, they update it every few months. And it's like, it's pretty much the one everybody in the country uses to know about all the fellowships that are out there for people. And then Adrian also every week puts together a digest of opportunities. So this is where we put out any federal opportunities that we think might be of interest to people here at Rollins, or any new things from foundation or corporate opportunities that come through, as well as any internal funds or pilots that we have. So each of our centers has pilot programs every year. We do some things at the school, so that's where we announce those so people here know about some of those internal opportunities as well. And then we do offer grant editing for our faculty. Not that many people take advantage of it. I think partially because you have to do it ahead of time, right? If you have to grant written in order to be able to take advantage of this. But Janet was a researcher and then has gone into consulting and does grant preparation assistance and editing.
Is Janet Grossi in the school in Emory?
She's not at Emory, but she's like directly contracted by Emory, so she's kind of like Emory
Contractor.
Okay.
So she's a
Just to
contractor.
prepare grants.
Just to help, yeah, so she just has really good, so if she can review some of the technical aspects, but also just like as she's reviewed stuff for my center that we're putting together now, just to say, this is confusing, or this is not good, reviewers don't care about this.
So it's not fair.
Yeah, exactly.
Those kind of
or your figure's terrible. Like this figure doesn't, so she does that kind of stuff, and she's really good at it. So, just
I think I've met maybe Lisa. I guess
you may have met because she does a lot.
I think she worked with Lisa at one of our grants.
Oh yeah, probably yeah.
And
Laura used a lot of.
Laura, I think she has had those reviews.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She's really good, and she does a lot of courses too. Like she'll teach a lot of especially for early career people, like K awards.
Okay.
She does a whole course on K awards. So she's very involved. She's very involved in the CTSA, Clinical Translational Sciences program. She's involved in that. So
that's good.
And then we have websites that kind of keep all of our information together for people. This is My Hub, which is our old site. We're kind of moving away from it and into a Microsoft SharePoint site. This is where we have, like, we used to have the intent to submit form was on here. Now we do that through Insight. But we do have proposal assistance requests. So if people want to use grant editing support or want to have their grant reviewed externally, they can, put in that request there. It goes to Adrienne, so she can, and this way we can track it. We know about the invoicing of it, so we can pay the bills. And then we've had information, kind of some of these slides, this kind of presentation that we do is linked here for people to be able to see it. Because Adrienne also has created, it's just to skip that, that's just a proposed intent.
Oh, okay.
But she's also created like this handbook, which actually that's a good thing to share with you, just so you kind of see, like, that lays out all these offices and all the people. Hasn't been updated since the fall, so Kim won't be in it yet.
Yeah.
But that lays out all the different options. So it's basically we have this big guidebook that a new researcher can come here and figure out what office do I have to go to do this or that. What are all the trainings I need to complete before I can even submit it? Like all these things have to happen. So, so that's a good thing to so
I need one of those too.
Yeah. Last page for you. She updates it every year for
Oh yeah.
And then we do have, a lot of our faculty get support from foundations, particularly some corporations too. Especially our HIV work, actually, we have a lot of corporate, Gilead does a lot with us on that side. But some foundations as well. And these are different than federal grants. It's a very different kind of approach to writing well. And it's much more relational, right? So you basically you have to be friends with the agencies. And so Kevin Graves now is kind of overseeing this. We're in the process of trying to hire a new person. Our person just left. The person who did this just left for a new opportunity. But they're the person who can help reach out and make those connections because they really understand how it works. We're like a faculty, we don't really know how to do this. So And then just a little bit about what we have here. So at Rollins, we do have labs. So we do have 20,000 square feet of lab space over in the Claudia Nance Rollins buildings where my office is. So in the middles, there's 3 floors in the building that have research laboratories, mostly about analytical chemistry, so it supports all our environmental health work. So lots of analytical chemistry equipment, some molecular biology kind of work. So I'm a molecular immunologist, so I have a lab, some specimens, and some microbiology kind of research. So we do wastewater testing, other kinds of sampling and things like that. And we support a little bit of resources in those labs, mostly around like maintaining freezers. My lab has millions of dollars worth of human samples that we don't want them to go down. So how do we make sure that we keep that going? So we do support some of that. And then we have high performance computing here. So we have our own cluster to do high performance computing. It's actually not in the building. It's held over in the university's computing area. Which we set that up about 5 years ago. It's been going well, keeps growing all the time. People are very much using it. And then Emory has a relationship with Amazon Web Services for high performance computing as well. So if we need more than we can do on our cluster. Also just for data transfer kind of stuff. If we have big data that we're moving around, like I do genomic sequencing kind of work. That we need something big to be able to move that kind of data around. So we also have Amazon. I think we're moving that to Azure soon, so it's going to be a Microsoft product at some point. And then we do have a lot of other resources across the university. So all of our core facilities it's an integrated core facility setup here at Emory. So any researcher at any of the schools can utilize the core facilities across the whole university. And actually we have a relationship across the state where researchers anywhere in the state can get the internal pricing on using core facilities at any other university in the state. So so there may be things at Georgia Tech that we don't have access to here. We don't have engineering, right? So there may be specific resources there that we can make use of at the same price that Georgia Tech researcher will be able to use that. So that's really good. I mean, it's nice to have those.
Will that involve you having a staff there becoming part of your team? Or
no, it's more done as like a fee for service kind of thing. So like they have their staff who do whatever they're doing. And we just would ask them to do it for us.
And then they bill us.
They bill us. And we do it too. And we have people here who send us, in environmental health, for example, we have a lab who does a lot of contract work. And so you get the bills for the work that he does. And then we're part of the Georgia CTSA, which is this large clinical translational sciences group. Laura's a piece of that. And they support all of the clinical research, here at the Emory, but also with partners, Morehouse, UGA. And so they help with a lot of these kind of training activities, some community engagement type work, finding funding, based on some pilot programs, things like that.
Okay.
do you have a clinical trial unit
Yes.
within this?
Within Rollins.
Okay.
That's something that comes through the CTSA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they have they actually have an inpatient clinical unit. If they wanted to do inpatient trials, but they can also support just in general we do have a clinical trials office that supports all clinical trial work at Emory. It does all the because there's a lot of compliance around that, and so that office is knows how to do all the compliance, plus knows how to do all the billing side of it. So what do you charge for those kind of things, and how does that go to healthcare?
A lot of trials in School of Medicine, which Dr. Flowers is in School of Medicine. And then also that team will also come next week to go through the trials process as well. So you'll get to meet them and go through that.
Yeah, because especially with the federal stuff, right? There's you have to get on clinicaltrials.gov. They help support that happening, making sure that the updates happen, doing all that side of it. Otherwise, we can get in trouble. So. And then this was just some stuff I presented last week at this funding opportunity this federal update on Friday that I thought you might be interested in. So this is a little bit about what we know is going on in the federal side. About not using RFAs as often. So they're moving more towards highlighted topics. So institutes will just kind of say these are areas that we think are important. And so, you can look for those highlighted topics if you're looking for areas that you want to move into. And they're also using forecasts, which is something that the CDC uses a lot of, right? And they kind of tell you when they expect things. Now even NIH is going to do that. Not necessarily to actually expect it, because you may never get anything.
In recent CDC, their forecast was not as materialized.
Right.
Not as materialized.
No, that's what's happening.
They keep shifting.
Exactly.
There is one we are following. So I mean, November last year, they shifted to January, now March. I went out March.
Yeah.
In my mind, something on global health.
You're right. Yeah. No, I think it's there's a lot more scrutiny about everything that's coming out, and so it's making it really hard. And there's no staff. So this last point, I had been at a meeting at the Human Genome Research Institute, and they went from 13 staff to 3.
Wow.
To get all their grants. So that's happened all across the whole agency. So it's kind of a mess. Right?
Yeah.
That's why we have payouts, because otherwise we'll never.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those kind of things. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's all I know.
That's it.
Good.
That's the overview of everything was on.
That's
Yeah.
good. What I pick up from here, is for us to sit down and see how we can adapt this. You have this is a university,
Yeah.
very big university with
Yeah.
a big system. Primarily university research is key, yeah. Where we do research, but like I said, maybe 30%. We are more service delivery, right? So we do more of this foundation grant thing, with corporate organization, then do little of NIH. We're working with the universities and doing those kind of things. Well, one thing I am saying is, which I don't know how come out, because in our pre-post award is like together.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have.
Yeah.
We don't have. For Kamal, he has 1, 2. I think like within maybe family, juggling everything together, and that becomes sometimes will be challenging.
Absolutely.
It's not that we have maybe a unit to handle the pre-award, unit to handle the post-award. It does everything. It does the financial aspects, and things of that kind. But at least one thing I pick is that we need to have structure. I love that timeline thing, where I think it's good because we must make people make the work easier to
Yes,
bring work
absolutely.
As this gets more complicated.
Yeah, we don't bring work close to the edge.
Yeah. Yeah.
That must be.
No, I mean, that's a lot why we put it in place.
Yeah.
It was that we were getting more and more work, there's more and more compliance, more stuff has to be done. And there's not more people.
Yeah.
So then we need more time.
Yeah. So it's something that I think we need to discuss to say, if you're not submitting this before this, I mean, you're not really, they're not really serious.
And I'll just say, historically, Emory was kind of a separation of pre-award and post-award, whereas Rollins we've moved towards a more hybrid type of role. So our staff do both pre and post. So that's good to know. So we do have staff that do both pre and post. So that's good because it keeps the same contact for your faculty. They know who to reach out to and all of that. So, any questions, Kamaro?
That's the problem with Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah, no question in particular, but to add to Dr. Banjo's statement, we really appreciate this training and especially the aspect that has to do with the systems,
Mm-hmm.
the softwares that you use for the administration of the grant management itself through the process. I
Mm-hmm.
think we will discuss with Dr. Banjo later on, and maybe he will go further to search and give us a feedback so that we look at the possibility of um, implementing or installing uh, at least one of the software at this end. And I think this will equally assist me in reducing some of the burden.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are instances, as Dr. Banjo says, in that time management, we have instances whereby you have a deadline of yesterday, and somebody
Mm-hmm.
bringing his submission tomorrow. You can in most instances, my office is forced to work to stretch hours so as to make sure the submissions are intact for submission and what have you. But I think if there is a system in place, it will ease tracking, and the organization will know who is doing what and who is dragging the system behind.
Mm-hmm.
I think this
Absolutely.
is actually a worthwhile exercise. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And Carmen created a whole letter that kind of explains the reason why we implemented the deadline policy. It's really the policy itself, and it has all of the information. So we could probably share that with you all as well.
It's really important. Sometimes where your work stop is where the other person started. So if you don't supply what he or she needs, and you come, if there are no timeline, deadline, they will blame the other person, not knowing that really it was the view that did not give.
Mhm.
And that may also affect the quality of your submission, really, when you are rushing. It's something we appreciate if you can share that. I think it's something we need to look at as an organization.
I think that's all in the handbook too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good. Yeah.
Share this to develop our system better.
Okay. Well, any other questions or comments?
For me, no. For me, no. Just to say thank you for today. It's
Welcome. Enjoy.
it's very glad. And I'm also happy to learn that we are an environmental. So you do what area do you specialize in?
Children's environmental health. So
Children.
yeah. So exposure to pregnancy and children's health outcomes.
Okay. Oh,